A little bit about me. So I'm based out of South Africa, Johannesburg. I do a lot of work for the Polish Microsoft team. And I have brown hairs, I'm wearing glasses, and I'm wearing a navy shirt. And I'm talking to you from Johannesburg, South Africa. And I have dwarfism. I'm 4'1", pretty short. And I've been vibe coding now, I think, for 27 years. And I work for GitHub, which is part of Microsoft. And I help developers where they are and reach them to be able to do marvelous, magical things. And today we're going to talk about vibe coding the correct way with GitHub Copilot. So the first thing I want you to do is understand that you all are prompt engineers. I actually did a session. If you want to look up prompt engineering, go to the LangChain for J for Beginners session, and I teach you how to do prompt engineering, and it's very difficult. There's 14 different patterns for prompt engineering, and everyone thinks like they can be a real computer scientist. And the biggest problem with that is that they just sit back, and you can hear the music that we're playing right now. This is I'll show you here right now. Let's go here. And I put it in the chat there. This is a vibe coding, that the person actually means with their Code and Chill Cafe. It's a vibe coding playlist that I like listening to. You sit back and you just go accept all, accept all, accept all, accept all, refresh, accept all. And there's a problem with that, because that's really like driving without seeing. Unless you drive a Tesla with auto driving, that's very difficult to do. So today's session is really about creating less AI slop. So if you go in and you go accept all, guess what? And you don't have the necessary framework or the necessary project set up, you are going to get AI slop. And AI slop is 25% of the time. I need you to repeat that in your head. 25% of what AI creates is slop. And I know this because I've created repositories up to about 15,000 lines of code, up to 20,000 lines of code. And I would say 25% of them, when I just left them to do its own thing, was slop. It needed to be tested and needed to be adjusted. And it's a great way to actually freak you out and ruin your career. Because the biggest change in classic code, which is determinism, so if x equals to 5, then y equals to x plus 2, y equals 10, always the same results. So it's predictable and it has a fixed outcome. It's got consistent output. And don't worry, I'm going to share all these slides with you at the end of the session. It's part of the repo, which I've popped into the chat though. Now, probabilism, AI probability, says, okay, what is a cat? You might get 3 different responses for that. A small feline animal, a pet that meows, an independent house cat. They're all right, but they're wrong. Because all you want, what is a cat? And in your mind, you know what it is. So maybe 2 or 3 of that, maybe all of them is AI slop. Because you vibe coded what is a cat. And you didn't really specify the guardrails to be able to get the correct visibility on what the output is going to be. Now, you can make sure that you get the correct output. Now, a long time ago, when I was 21 and I started my degree, I learned about a throwaway prototype and an evolutionary prototype. Now, a throwaway prototype is just going in and vibing something, and you get the app, and then you go, okay, cool, it worked for what I need, and then I'm going to go and delete it. And the novelty is, you see this little animation? That's actually a screenshot of a throwaway prototype. This is an actual app that I created. And I just needed it to create a nice visual representation. But an evolutionary prototype is you start off with a good base, and then you build on that prototype, and you vibe and you increase the complexity of that prototype as you progress. Today, I'm going to show you an evolutionary prototype. You can go and look at throwaway prototypes. You just go into that and say, build me an app, and then move away. But I'm going to show you an evolutionary prototype. And we're going to follow a very specific vibe coding workflow, which I've got the documentation from in the repo that I'm going to share with you now. And it starts with ask, then it goes to plan, You can then use an agent for the plan to implement the plan. The agent uses instructions to actually ground itself. You can specify a agent profile if you wanted to, which is also specialized instructions. And then the agent will use MCP, Model Context Protocol, which is just a tool. It's just a tool, and you can extend it with that. And by doing that, you're going to vibe code with structure, content, and control. Now let's go through the different modes, and don't worry, all of this that I'm going to do is replicated in the repo. So what is ask mode? And I love ask mode for its simplicity, because when you go into ask mode...
Sorry to interrupt, Rory, but we have a question on chat. Can you stop the background music? And it was bumped by 5 people, so I think people
so
would
let's stop
like
the
that.
Background music there. Okay, so yes. I have stopped the background music. Now, the ask mode doesn't change the state of the underlying program. It doesn't actually go in and change code. What it does is just you putting your hand up, like you can when we do some Q&As, and just say, I need to understand my code base, I need to explore options, I need to learn the patterns, I need to do some research. And we're going to be looking at the ask mode, and we're going to ask Copilot with the example. Now, plan mode. This is where we start to get a little bit serious. We're going to analyze the code base in plan mode. And our plan mode, you're going to go into GitHub Copilot and you're going to specify either ask in the dropdown or plan. You can analyze the code base, identify the files to change, outline the approach, and each of these you can actually change, refine with feedback, and then you're going to ready to execute. And then you're going to design first, code second. This is called specification-driven development. I strongly advise you to always plan before you go to the next step, which is agent mode. So agent mode will take that plan that you've specified, specification, and it will go in, do multi-file edits, error recovery, can use tools, can use the terminal, can create files. You can also get with agent mode, you can use the local agent, which is it just says agent. You can also, and I'll demo it, Copilot CLI, and you can also use the code agent, which is the online GitHub agent. So all of this also requires you to ground it with the Copilot instructions. So you're going to teach Copilot your conventions. What tech stack are you going to do? What is your coding conventions? What is your API design? How do you handle errors? How do you test? What is the workshop content? And every response that you do then, if you have a good instruction file, will pull in that instruction file, read it, and then it will not create, via the agent mode, it will not create something that exceeds the instructions, that will kind of bypasses those instructions. This is if you take one thing from me today, this is the most important file that you can vibe code with then. Because every time, remember the cat example, what is a cat? If you don't have a Copilot instruction file, every time that you ask it to do something in agent mode, it might change it. That's why you need to actually ground it with Copilot instruction files. You also can actually get the instruction file to use certain tools. So custom tools, file system, database, GitHub, cloud APIs, and they are put into the mcp.json. And I'm going to show you mcp.json as we go through the demo. Now, what is an agent? Before we go to agent profiles. So an agent isn't a simple chatbot. You speak to an LLM, an agent reasons and acts using tools, and it breaks down complex tasks, it remembers, and then you can collaborate, work with other agents. Now, to do that, you create something called an agent profile. So I've got 4 agent profiles that I've created in the sample repo I'm going to show you. I've got API dev, which handles the backend expert. I've got frontend dev, the UI specialist, code reviewer, and docs writer. And you specify the agents in a JSON format there, and you give it access to tools. So code editor, terminals, and then you have specialized agents. So this is the summary of what I want to do before I go to the demo. You go to ask, which it can't change the code base. Then you're going to plan and create a specification. Then you've got your agent, which is going to execute your plan, and it's going to use the instructions to ground itself. And then you can use specialized profiles and also MCP to extend that. So I created a Vibe task tracker. So I'm a Java developer, and I created it, and I just said to it, and you're going to see here the prompt that we use, and the backend uses Java, and it uses an API with a simple front end, and it's got the tests, and it's also got the Copilot config. So I vibed, and I just did one big prompt, and I'm going to show you what I did, and it created the Copilot instructions for agent profiles and all of that. And what it did there, you can see there's me vibe coding there, but I created a detailed plan, and you can, in the repo, you'll see the plan. And then it went there, and in agent mode there, I'm using Claude Opus 4.6. In Microsoft, we have a 1 million token context. And I'm using local mode with default approvals, or you can specify that to auto approvals. And then it created the Vibe task tracker. I also, in the examples that I'm going to show you here, went in and created the agent profiles and also the ability to test it. So first demo, we have 2 demos that we're going to show you. You're going to go to github.com/RoryP, that's my GitHub username, and then we can /vibe coding. So I've put it into the chat. Let's go back into the chat here, copy link, and I'm going to pop it into here again. And you're going to go in there, and you can follow with me also while we're doing this. So let's go into our IDE here, and we want to go into, let's go here. Let me first show you how to get to that point, though. I always was told, show them first how you got to that point. So this is the repo here, Vibe coding. Let's go here. No. Let's go here. And then you can open up under code. You can just go local here, and you can open in GitHub Desktop, or you can clone it there. It does have a dev container, and you can see here I do also have a code space that I've set up there, that if you want to run this in the cloud with GitHub code spaces. So I've got it running here. So let's go out of the presentation here. So let's go into here. I've got it running here. And the first thing I want to show you is that the original prompt that I created the entire application, so it's under recreate prompt, and you've got it there. And it says here, copy the below, create a Vibe task tracker. That's the back end, that's the API, that's the front end, the tests, the Copilot config, and then run on that port and run through the tests. And when it finished, I got this nice repo here. I did have to go in because I wanted to train you. I had to go in and create the tutorial. So if you go into the tutorial here, let's go into this repo here. If you go into the README here and you do preview, so let's close that for the time being and close that and make that bigger. Let's close that and that. Now we've got an end-to-end training that you can use, and it also has the slides.pdf in it. So you can see here, we're going to start with ask mode. So you can click through that. And remember, you can follow with me. There's 30 of you online. So ask mode. Now we're in the repo here, the same repo that I specified. Let's just remove that there. Okay, so that is that. Let's go back into README there. And let's go into that. And you can start with the ask mode. Now, the ask mode is very interesting because it gives me an opportunity to do very basic GitHub Copilot queries though. So I've got ask mode there. Now I'm going to specify, and you can go through the models there. I find the best one is Claude Opus 4.6. If you've got the free tier, you're going to use 4.6. And you can also specify manage models here, and it's going to bring up all the different models that you have enabled on your Copilot subscription. If you want to enable different models here, you can see here, that's Copilot. You need to go to, if you see here, you need to go to your feature set on Copilot, and you'll see there that it's got either you or your manager or your administrator will enable certain models there in your Copilot settings there. And you've also got coding agent setting here, which will go through. I've enabled both Claude and also coding agent. Let's go back to there, minimize that. So the first thing we're going to do is on Ask. I want to show you the difference when you vibe between the different models. Now I've switched on the autopilot, which means that it never really asks, it automatically iterates from start to finish. You can do bypass approvals or default approvals. So we used to call it the vibe mode, YOLO mode. And I've also got local mode here. So if I want to go here and I can ask there, what does this project do? Question mark. And I can specify a little bit of a faster model there, which is Haiku. Let's go into Haiku, and it's going to go, okay, what does this project do? And it's working. And you can see there, it's going pretty quickly, and it tells me this is a vibe task tracker, and it goes through the tech stack, and it will go on, and I've answered your question, the vibe task tracker, and this will actually go in, if you see here, this will actually go in and pull in the Copilot instruction file. So that's the first thing I did here. And if you see here, the Copilot instruction file is telling it everything around what it needs to do, how it needs to test, what is the workshop content. So let's go back into Claude Opus. So you can see how fast that did. But Claude Opus also is a little bit quicker. So if we go ask here, I want to show you that little thing that we did there, the little ask, that used some of my tokens. So if Haiku has 200,000 tokens there, I've now used up 13. And once that gets filled, you can't really use that chat anymore. You have to go in and use another chat, though. So you can compact the conversation. It's a very nice little ability there. And you can see that it's pulling in that, and it's compacted conversation. So watch 13.8 and watch what happens when we actually finish compacting the conversation. All we did is ask it, what does this project do? So if you carry on going through your conversation, the Claude Opus 4.6 actually compacts its conversation. And now, if we go back in there, let's see if we've got a compacted version here. There we go. And now we've got 2.6. So yeah, really great opportunity to do that though. So let's see here with that model. We can go, okay, what does this project do? Now that was Haiku, so let's go see what we're doing now in Opus. Remember, in the free tier, you have Sonnet. If you've got Copilot Pro or Pro Plus, then you'll get Opus. So this is going to go through a little bit more detailed here. It's also going to pick up there some things that the other one didn't. You can see there it's got localhost, it's got API tasks, a little bit more detail that you can have there. And you can copy that, and you can save that chat also. If you look here, that's the chat here that we've got there, project functionality, and you can pin the chat and you can save that chat though. So that's basic about the ask there. I've showed you the ask with autopilot. I showed you the two instructions, the Copilot instructions there that you are going to deal here. And let's go back into ask mode, and let's go into preview. And let's close that and close that. Now, right at the bottom of ask mode, once you get through it, and you can see here, learn the patterns, explore the patterns, understand the code base. There's so many different prompts that you want to do there. I'm not going to focus too much on it because I need to focus more on plan mode. So we're going to click on plan mode here. And what is plan mode? And now it's going to give you tasks to do that. So what we're going to do here is we're going to select plan over here. And then we're going to specify add a priority field to task. It should be low, medium, or high with a default of medium. Users should be able to filter a task by priority. So I can specify that. And then I'm going to also just specify, because we are live on air, create a plan and then colon there, because I don't want it actually to go in and do any silly things. And now I'm going to execute that. So what it's going to do, it's going to create a plan. Now, I've already got a plan set up, though. And in that plan here, you can see in the plan.md, this is a testing plan. So I asked it before, please help me test. So you can see that it's going to go through there. It's going to explore the code base. It's going to read through all of that. I'm going to stop that there. And eventually, it's going to create a plan.md. Now, with that plan.md, I can go into that. and with that plan, I can say, go implement that plan. And that is the next step, which is agent mode. So I've got the plan here. It's got all the steps. It's going to use the Copilot instruction file already. It's going to go through all of that. It's going to tell you everything you need to plan. And then we're going to go into agent mode. So let's first see what happens when you do that. I'm going to go using the plan, test the application. And this is actually going to start the application. And I'm going to just say there, start the app, and use the Playwright MCP tools. So what is the Playwright MCP tools? Under tooling there, configure tools, I've actually gone in and specified that I want to use the Microsoft Docs, I want to use Playwright, and I want to use the default tools that you have there. And then also I want to use GitHub tools, and then, Mermaid, because I love Mermaid here. And you can go in and add tools that you want to do here. So let's go into here. And this is the first vibe we're going to do. Now we switch the music off, but using the plan, test the application, start the app, and use the Playwright MCP tools. And this is going to go through, and this is going to use 4.6. It's going to read the plan that we have here. You can see there, it's going to try and understand the application and see how the context is. At the same time, you can monitor how much it's going to use there. And then it's going to slowly go through it. At any given time, I can actually stop it. But if you see here, what I'm going to do is, after the first test, I'm going to show you how to interrupt it. So now it's going to start it. This is Java, so it's already started the application. And now it's going to start up a Chrome browser. So I've already installed the Playwright tools, the Chrome browser tools here, and it's got the MCP tools already installed. Now, if you don't have the tools installed with MCP, don't worry, I've got you covered and we're going to cover it under the GitHub, the VS Code folder there. There's an mcp.json. And you can see the Playwright's already started there, GitHub has started, and also I don't have the docs started there. So it started it already. So let's close that there. Okay, it says, good, the Playwright tools are available. Now let me load more tools and start testing. All tools loaded. And it's going, okay, cool, let's go smoke test the page load. And it's going to start up Chrome. And I'm going to show you exactly what it does. Now this, to me, is vibing. I have a plan. And okay, so let's go into Chrome here. Has been closed. Okay, it's going to start up the browser here, navigating to a URL. Let's see if we've got there. Okay, browser seems, so it's got errors. Let me try a different approach, a different tool to open the browser first, check what tools are available, and it's going to go through that there. And let me just make sure, browser close, search for files. So it's working out exactly what to do for the plan though. Let me try closing the browser first and then navigating afresh. There we go. Now it started the app, the Vibe task tracker, which I already created. Now what it's going to do, it's going to follow the plan to go in there, phase 1 pass, and it just says with heading Vibe task tracker. And it's going to create a task now. So if we're going to create a task, it's going to go buy groceries. And it's going to click through and it's going to test them. So I've created the app with the initial plan. I now have the plan.md and my Copilot instruction file. So I'm grounded both in the plan and my instruction file, and it enables me to say, here's the tools, here's the agent mode, I've got the correct model, I've got the autopilot on, I'm using local, and now it's going, okay, cool. Now I can actually go, checkboxes now checked, add, and then I can interrupt it, add another item called Rory's car clean. Okay, so now it's going to do that, and I've interrupted it now in capitals. Add another item, and you can see there, it's added a restore a checkpoint and create a task, Rory's car clean. Let's see if it goes in there, and let's see if we're going to go in there. Hey, there we go. So I interrupted it. So even though you're vibing and you're going from the beginning and you're saying just run with it, I'm going to go get some coffee, at any given time, you can interrupt it and say, please, I just want you to change, stop what you're doing. This is a very important concept because you want to still have the ability to interrupt it. And you saw there, it created a task there, and then it kind of stops, and then I can just go carry on. And then it'll carry on from where it originally stopped though, which was buy groceries. So let's go here. Part 3 was almost done. We toggled buy groceries. Now, if you remember the plan here, we have create a task, complete a task, delegate a task, error handling. So there's 5 of them. So phase 4, we're going to delete a task. It's going to go through. And then right at the end, if you see here, verification, decisions, implementation, further considered, it's going to say, okay, this is what I did, and this is the results that I did from this. And this task was just me saying I need to run end-to-end tests using the Playwright MC server, and it created the plan for me though. So let's go here. Okay, so we got it. We've got all 5 phases of the plan. It got through the pass here. We're really happy. We vibe coded, we interrupted it, and we did the plan mode. So if we go into the next mode here, and we go into plan, so let's just close that, and let's go right down to the bottom. We want to see agent mode, which we touched on a little bit. And agent mode really allows you to run terminal commands, and it goes through here. I'm not going to do that right now. And you can go give it a clear prompt, and what it really enables you to do, and we saw an example here, it can also use the Copilot CLI or the local agent. So that's the next thing I want to show you. So let's just close that here. So now I'm going to go add a nice HTML file in the root that says made by Copilot. Well, no, let's actually go that says econverse was here. Okay, that's pretty clever. And I'm going to go agent mode here and add a nice HTML file in the root that says made by econverse. Yeah, let's just go there, made by econverse. So, and I'm going to delegate that to the Copilot CLI. And I've installed the Copilot CLI, and you can see there it's on agent mode, and I'm just going to go. So what this is going to do, it's going to create a work tree. Don't worry, I'm going to explain what work tree is. So what a work tree is, and a branch though, it's a separate folder. So the CLI is actually running. If we go into here, let's go, not tasks, we want to go terminal here. And we should have a hidden terminal here. So that's the start of it here. It's going to start it here, and it's going to create a work tree here. And this is a command line tool to actually go in. So if you want to see what that looks like, let's go CMD, and I actually can just go Copilot here. It's a command line tool. You're out of the IDE, and you can say, do you trust the folders? Let's just go. Okay, let me not do in the root here. Let's go that. Let's go CD dev and Copilot there. And I've already trusted that there. And then I'm going to go tell me what folders are in this folder. And you can literally do whatever you do in Visual Studio Code. It's the same subscription. It's exactly what you have there. And it will go through exactly what, and you can see that it's got access to your MCP, and it's got a lot of different things. Let's go back to here. A Copilot CH session has become work in your project. Follow its progress in the sessions list. So the sessions list is here. Let's go into sessions list here. And we want to go there. And the sessions layer is, let's go 36 minutes ago. And I remember, has begun, follows progressions in the sessions list. I forget where the session list actually is, though. I think it's here. And we want to go, okay, let me just ask, where is the session list on VS Code? And it's going to go through it there, and then it's going to go in and create the file, a nice HTML file in the root that says made by econverse. And let's see if it comes through here. And then it says, okay, on the top, the chat panel, control Copilot. So let's go control Alt and I. And okay, so the actual session list. I think I might have actually been too clever for myself. On the top, there's a sessions drop-down, clock history that you specify. I think it means that, actually. So over here, and you can drop down there. Okay, so I'm not going to lose too much mindset over that, though. Yeah, so you can also go Control-Shift-P, Copilot, Show Sessions. So let's go into there. So let's go Control-Shift-P. So Control-Shift-P, and we're going to go and we're going to go Copilot, pilot, and then colon show sessions. Show agent sessions, show archive, focus sessions, toggle, chat, new Copilot CLI session, and so show agent session sidebar. So we can actually go through that and then do that there. Oh, okay. So that's the pinned, and then you've got the different sessions there though. So I'm not going to lose too much time over that though. And that is the CLI, and you can see here that the CLI should have actually come back also here. And it says, okay, there's 265 folders in here. So that is CLI, but you can also do that with, and we can go there, create a new file, file called, a new HTML file in the root called, in the root. So just a new HTML file. Because I want to show you also, if you do local here, what you can actually do with GitHub Copilot, which is a very simple, and the user wants me a new HTML file. So let's go there, an HTML file in the root. So we've created the econverse here, and we can go and demo it there. So let's just close all of that. And we want to keep there. So you can either keep the file that was created, and then we have the file here, and we can go in and we can, let's make that a little bit bigger there. And we can go in there, reveal in File Explorer, and then we can go in there and view that file, made by econverse. But what happens if I want to change that file? So let's go minimize that and go into there. Now I can actually change the file made by econverse, right? And I can say make by econverse and Rory. So that's the title there. And I can go into that and Rory there, you can see there. And that is called Copilot Next. So it picks up, wait a second, there is something that I needed to change also. And it's saying, would you like to change that also? And that is, you can accept that. You can go into we'll learn more around that. And I did that in the title, and then I can go, okay, next. So that is vibing with a file made local, and you can also use the CLI to do that. And that is called Copilot Next. And you can also use gray text and friends. See, I actually just did tab there. So tab there, and let's see what it actually does. And supporters. So I just hit tab there, though. So that is, and let's go back to what we originally had there. That is the agent mode, which is you can actually use the agent mode with the CLI, with also the last one here I want to show you here is the agent mode, and now we're going to go cloud. So add a testing .md document in the root. So what that's going to do, commit changes and delegate. Let's see what changes we got here. Okay, we're going to just discard those changes there, move changes, and we're going to go commit changes and delegate. And what this is going to do, it's going to open up a cloud agent. And if we go into that cloud agent here, it's going to wait for committing your changes to continue cloud session, close integrate terminal to cancel. Okay, so let's close that and then close that. Okay, let's do that one more time here. And we're going to go here. So let's go into that, create a new session here. And let's go new session here. Let's start again. We want to go into agent mode. We want to go into cloud. You can even use Claude, and you can hit enter. I'm going to go Claude Opus 4.6, and then we're going to hit enter here, and it's going to delegate to a cloud agent, and it's going to create a pull request. So if you had, let's say, documentation or testing, or you wanted to do some review here, I don't do this in my actual Visual Studio Code instance or even by the CLI. What I do is I create GitHub issues, and I delegate them to the coding agent, or I go into here, and I say, please, you can see here, add the, there's the PR here. Here's the PR. So you can see here, it wants to merge changes in there. It's ready for review. You can actually go into there. It's work in progress. You can view the session, how it's even going to create it, starting agent firewall here. And it's got the specification. So it's got the MCP service to go do that. And that is going to vibe, but it's going to vibe using the coding agent end to end. You can't really stop it or change it. It's not like the interactive flow that I just showed you now. It's going to rather just go in and just do its best way to go do that, though. So it's going to eventually, it's going to read the system here with the Copilot instructions. You must remember it is going to follow the Copilot instructions file. And this is a testing document. It's going to go through all the tests that you see there. And then it's going to create a PR file. So eventually, it's going to say, here's the pull request, ready for review, or you can go in, approve, and auto-merge once that is done, though. So fascinating way to actually do that. That's agent mode. I showed you with the CLI. I also showed you with the coding agent, and also I'm going to show you with agent profiles. I've touched on Copilot instruction files, so you can go through exactly what the Copilot instruction file does here, and you can go through under the Copilot instruction file under GitHub, the Copilot instruction file there. So let's go into the agent profiles, which is the most fascinating way to actually use an agent. Now, in the agent profiles here, what I've done, so let's create a new session here. And let's go into, let's open that up a little bit here. Now what you'll see here, let's minimize that, is that I've got, and let's go into cloud, into local, I've got multiple agents set up. So I've got API dev, code reviewer, docs writer, and front-end dev. And I can actually specify, let's go into front-end dev, and then I can say, actually let's go into docs writer. And I can go create a document in the root that focuses on the tech used in the repo. Now, what this is going to do under agents here, and that's the docs writer. So let's just run that. We've set that there. Now, the docs writer says these are the actual tools you're allowed to do. You can see Microsoft Docs is there. And this is the document writer agent specification. And it's going to tell you exactly what to do and how to do that. So you create a step-by-step guide with a real scenario, and it's going to go through that and write that ready there. Let's go, once this is written, we can also go in there and specify, we can actually pause that, go use the Microsoft Docs MCP tool. So let's derail it a little bit there and just say, listen, I noticed that there's a tool in the Docs Writer agent, and please go use the Microsoft Docs MCP tool. And that's going to go into the World Wide Web and say Microsoft Docs or Microsoft Learn. And there, it's already gone in there. There's the tech stack, and it's busy writing it here. And it's going to go, well, it's going to read that. Now I have the Microsoft Docs MCP loaded, and it's going to read it there. Let me search for relevant Microsoft documentation on the technologies used in this project. Wow. And it's going to go find Microsoft code samples there under that. And you can see there, that's the JSON that it sends to the MCP tool up and down. So these agent profiles are incredibly popular. Incredibly powerful, because you can specify in the agent profile what it's supposed to do, the docs, the description that you have here, and you can see they are broken it up to API dev, the code reviewer agent, the docs writer, and also the front end. So all of the tiers there has a specialized agent. You can say, please go use the specialized agent for it. And you can see the front end dev have actually added Playwright there. So it'll know when I test, go test with Playwright. So the agent mode, the normal agent mode that you specify here, the vibe agent there, it doesn't really know anything other than what you put in the Copilot instruction file, or if you're using a plan. But the other agents here are custom agents, and they know exactly what you want to do. So let's go right to the bottom there. Let's just see what we have. Oh, there, we've got, it's finished. techstack.md, it's finished there, and it actually went and said updated from the docs section, the latest builds, Cosmos DB, all of that, and it got all the links from doc search. And also mask. Oh, it's even added the links here. Let's just see if we can get, if it's got the links there. There we go. The learn.microsoft.com Java OpenJDK. So that's a great little MCP tool that you can actually do, the Microsoft Docs MCP tool there. And remember, all of this is available in the repo already. You just open up the repo, and if you don't have the tools installed, you can just go in there and go reopen in container. Everything will be installed. You do need to log in to GitHub Copilot, but everything else will be already installed and running for you pretty nicely. So that is the tech stacks. Let's go back into there. Let's create a new session there. And do you think it's finished already? The pull request is done. What's covered? Add a testing MD here. We've got the initial plan here. You can even go into there, add a testing MD, and it will show you exactly. And that is using the cloud-based agent. It really created a file for me, and you can go in there and you can scale. You can run 20 agents at a time if you wanted to. You just can't interact with them as much as that you would want to do. So we've done agent profiles. We've done MCP tools here. You can play around with that though. And that is, let me see what we're doing for time. Okay, we've still got 20 minutes left. All the MCP tools, we played around with quite a few of them, the docs MCP tools, the playwright in MCP tools. So I'm going to close this because I want to go back to my slides because I've got something that will blow your mind. However cool the session is that you just see here, I want to introduce you to the Copilot SDK. You can get it in all languages. I'm going to use the Java one. Now, this is not vibe coding. This is called vibe code. We're going to create vibe code. And what we're going to do is we're going to just say to it, please go in and create the end-to-end, like I showed you now, project flow pipeline, just with a prompt. And what it does, it says, okay, you've got your Java code you want to change. It's going to use the Copilot SDK, which is just running on a JSON RPC bridge. It's going to use the Copilot CLI like we showed you before, and also the GitHub API, and then you've got an LLM code. So what it enables you to do, you get the ability to code a coding assistant, code a PR reviewer, similar to what we did with those agent profiles, except it's in code, test generators, doc bots, and also agentic workflows, which I'm going to show you here. You also get the ability, I'm going to show you in the chat there. So the most advanced way to do this. So remember there that we created those documents, and we said testing and also made by Econverse though? What if we could do that in code? Instead of actually asking it in words, we could actually write that in code. We're going to go now into the GitHub Copilot SDK. So let's go into, this is the repo here, and I'm going to pop that into here, into the chat here. Let's close that, and I'm going to give you a second just to look at that. You can follow me also, Rory P. Remember, the slides are in the Vibe Code repository here. Now, what this does, let's go into that. Let me move that into that screen here. Hold on 1 second. Just want to move that into here. And I'm going to open up that repo here. We're going to go open recent, and I've got Vibe Coding SDK. So in this case, I'm not going to use that there because I've already gone in and I've created that. So on the simple example, now watch this. I'm going to use Claude Summit 4.5. I've loaded in the, you can see the com.github copilot.sdk, and it's a POM, but it also works in TypeScript, .NET, Python. All of them have this here. It also has a dev container if you want to run that. And then I'm going to say approve all. So I'm going to tell it I want a Vibe. And then I'm going to say, please, what is 2 + 2? But Rory, that's a chat that you would ask for. Yeah, but I'm vibing in code, and I can just go run this here. And this is the simplest example that you have. Now, what this is going to do, it's going to pull up a GitHub Copilot instance. You can see the client there. And it's going to create a GitHub Copilot session, GitHub Copilot connected. And it's going to say your code is Vibe there. 2 + 2 = 4. We can do an even more advanced example here. And let's go close that there. So we can run code review demos. You are an expert Java code reviewer, focus on thread safety, and here's the class that you have here. So you can also point this to other codes here. Use Claude Sonnet 4.5. And we also have the ability to run multiple conversations, explain the factory pattern 2-3 sentence, then go show me a minimal Java example, give a 3 real-world scenarios, and then finally run a structured demo, give me the JSON output for this. And yes, generate the code here, and then just stream the results here. So this is vibe coding on an advanced level. So let's go run. And I've got one more example after this that is going to use work trees. And I'm going to show you how to build entire repos in one command using just plain old vibing here. So I created all of these advanced examples, and that was the original prompt here. So if you remember here, the original prompt in the vibe code repo there, it said go in and create the SDK, and I've just vibed it to do that. Remember, all of this has also got examples here, and it's also got a very nice README here. So it's running through there. It went in and it created the code, it generated the code. It's going to go in there, a multi-turn conversation, did the factory pattern. It's going to show a simple example. I'm using Sonnet, so it should be a little bit faster here. And then while this is going through that, I want to show you the final demo that we're going to do here, which is agentic pattern vibing. Yeah, many words there. So in that, I actually went and created the the LangChain for J agentic services. So if you see here, I've actually gone in there and I've said, okay, I want you to run whatever I'm going to run, the string utils workflow, the date utils, and file utils in parallel. And at the same time, to do that, I'm going to say, oh, wow, I also want you to, once you've generated that code, go in and review it. So what's happening, if you see here, and let's go from current slide, I'm going to generate the string utils in my repo. I might be generating thousands of classes. I'm going to generate the date utils and then the file utils. And each one of that, I'm going to review them until the class is correct maximum 3 times. If that's not correct, then don't generate the files. If it looks good to me, commit and merge there. So let's go into that. It's already finished there, and it's got ready to use. Everything is from the advanced one. So now let's go into the parallel work-free example. There's also a basic work-free example here, and let's run this. Now what this is going to do, if you see here, let's make that a little bit bigger. It's going to create a work tree. So I did say that I was going to explain work trees a little bit more detail. And if you go into let's go into the cloud mode here, and you can specify, let's just go into that, actually not cloud mode, Copilot CLI. You can see a work tree here. So you can do workspace, which is currently what we're in here, or work tree. Now work tree is a separate folder, and it creates, so once we're vibing, and we should be vibing in a dev container, and you should be also maybe vibing not on your work PC. Let's close that there. So now we're going to vibe, and we're going to create vibe code. So we've got string utils, date utils, and file utils, and now I'm going to run this. So as I run this, I'm going to show you what it's going to do in the work tree. Now the work tree is a separate folder. It's going to run through here, and you can see that it's already created a work tree there. Not the same as your repo, not the same as your local repo. It's just a folder. Now what I've got is I've specified that when you're happy with these files, you're going to run the review, and then once you finish with that, you're going to auto merge those files though. Let's show you. It's going to go git and dir, add, and then commit, and then you're going to actually go in there, and you're going to go and auto merge there. So let's just go here. There's the auto merge, and it's going to go fast forward. So it's going to create those files there. You can see that there's files utils, string utils, and it's just going to do one more. I think it might sometimes, there, string utils. And if it doesn't like, issues found. So it takes the issues and then puts them back into the prompt. So you can go in and infinitely review that. You can say, okay, cool, these are the files I want to create. And you can see here, I vibed the files though. So there's the date utils, create a Java util class, add the specific features there. I'm not really telling you how to, I'm just telling you what I need to do though. And then I go review that. So let me show you here, control review there. Review with Copilot, your concise code reviewer. And it just actually went in and changed it. So I can sync the changes, okay. And it auto merged them into my local repo. Without me, if you go right down to the bottom there, cleaning up Workbench, and it generated the files, and then it just merged it with them. So that is vibe code, because what I did is I took that entire experience that we experienced with GitHub Copilot, and I put it into code. So let's go back and finish off the slides here. So that is the repo here, GitHub Copilot SDK. And also, I want to remind you to go into the vibe coding there. I'm going to take some questions. We're going to look in the chat here. We still have 24 people here. Okay, no questions. I can take your questions if you want. I know it's a lot to take in. Okay, I showed you how to vibe code with all the different sections, and you've got the ability to go in there. The slides are in there. You can actually go in there and practice and play around with them. Use it inside a dev container, or install the code locally, the tools locally, and then go, once you've finished with that, go into the SDK and learn vibe code. Not vibe coding, vibe code. Matthias, do we have any questions?
I haven't seen any questions on the chat for now, but if you guys have any questions, you can type them now. And if not, you can also get your certificate or a badge from Microsoft by clicking the link that I've sent in the chat. Other than that, the whole session was recorded and you will be shared the whole video as well. So.
Yeah, and someone in the chat, tell me where the window is, because I lost track of the window. Maybe I was hiding there for the Copilot CLI. And I've seen it before. I just can't remember where it is, though. So that's one of the things I need to actually just look up there and just remind myself, though. So I hope that this session was not too much to take on, because it was. It took me about end to end with the original prompts and also the examples. It took me about a day and a half to do that. So I did the vibe, I created it, and then I went in there because I wanted to refine the documentation. And then I did the work tree example, which also I did a little bit of vibe, but I also then worked on it also though. So thank you so much. You've been a great audience. And as you remember also, if you want to get the vibe soundtrack here, so let's go in there and let's share that. So let's go share. So share.
There's
this is
one question. Actually,
yes.
Is it necessary to separate the agents like we did in our repo?
So those agents are specialized agents. You don't have to. But if you don't, they might use the wrong tools. So if you go here and you see, let's go into Open Recent, and we want to go into vibe coding. Not all the agents have the same tools. So they might use different tools here. So this one has Playwright, Microsoft Docs, File System, and then the other ones here, the front-end devs don't have as much, though. API devs have other ones also, though. So I think it's important first to say, what does the agent do? And if you don't want to just use agents, then you can actually go in there and just use agent mode with your Copilot instructions and just kind of hope it works. Good question. Any other questions?
I don't see any on the chat, but yeah, you can. We can share once more. It's in the chat. You have the playlist, so you can vibe along while vibe.
Yeah,
vibe
that
coding.
playlist is incredible. It's lo-fi, and it also the artist you'll see there actually talks about vibe coding. So it's a great opportunity to vibe code. Then you use the vibe coding repo that I did there. Learn about it. Remember, there's a lot of docs here that I just covered it briefly. You can go and play around with it there. And also, we have the other repo here, the Copilot SDK. It's got the basic example there. It's got the advanced example. Remember those files there? There's our files. There's the date util, the file utils, and string utils that we just created and generated and vibed using work trees. But thank you so much, Econverse. And I look forward to follow me on Twitter and follow me on LinkedIn. I look forward to seeing what all of you vibe.
Thank you so much, Rory, for the lecture, for the webinar, and thank you all for your attendance. Bye-bye.